Hello StarCraft fans! This is Falcon Paladin coming to you with yet another daily Legacy of the Void upload. This is a game between NebulA and johndragoon on Dusk Towers. In the top side of the map we have the red Zerg player, it is johndragoon. Representing GMW Guard Masters? Gerard Masters? I don't know, is that English? And in the bottom side of the map we have the red blue Terran player, it is NebulA. With NL Netherlands website, EC Visualize. Okay, so some really fun floating stuff for us today. This is a Master versus Master ZVT for you guys. I do like to highlight all levels of StarCraft 2. The Master levels can show us some very, very fun stuff as well, just as well as Grandmaster and Professional can. Really good decision making, a really good macro. It just usually tends to be one or two areas of a player's game that prevents them from being in Grandmaster at this point. But we won't hold it against them because being in Master at all, it's a very, very impressive feat. Okay, quick plug for my book. If you haven't heard of that already, I did write a book. There's a link to it in the description here to Amazon. It's a digital book only for Amazon Kindle and the Kindle app. Go ahead and check it out. If you have some time, you can get a preview of it as well on the website. And if you are interested in buying it, that would be fantastic. It would really help me out, and I would like to get some feedback on it as well. So again, in the description, link to the book. It is called Time Traveler Patient Zero. Ooh, time travel. Sounds fun. Alright, so hatch first here for a Dragoon into an Extractor into a pool. Very, very standard opening since the beginning of time on StarCraft 2. And indeed, it's going to be a Reaper opening here at the same time from NebulA. Reaper Expand, to be specific, as is to be expected. Both players know their build timings. They know the safest way to open against the other race. And then, as soon as we see this opening is where things start to get different. Will Dragoon go for a quick third hatch? Will he go for some Roach Ravager pressure off of two bases? I don't know. It is a mystery to all of us, and that is why this is so darn fun to watch. Reaper popping on out of that barracks. He's brand new to the Dominion, or whoever he's fighting for. Gonna go ahead and hop up there, check out, oh, another Overlord in this guy. That means I must be fighting against a Zerg. I didn't really pay attention in the briefing, he says. They make us watch this thing, but it's so darn boring. I just know when to get out there, kill some stuff, and then come back home, hopefully, to my wife and kids. So the Reaper pops out. There are two Queens in production here, speed on the way too. And are there any Lings up here to defend against this? I don't know. Great micro there by johndragoon. Yes, there are Lings. 4 Lings and a Queen. That Queen was a little bit early. Worked out well for johndragoon. Nice dodge on the KD8 charge. Always good to see Zerglings that can do that. Slowlings aren't the most mobile things in the game. They're not the most immobile either. But still, dodging can be hard for lower level players, so it's good to see this level being able to pull it off there. Ling's getting some shots off again on the creep there, faster than the Reaper, but no, he escapes. He escapes off the creep, has no kills to his name. Did he scout this area? He did. He did scout it. He didn't see a third one, but he's actually going to get... Oh, one more shot from the Queen. He does get taken down. Our poor Reaper did not make it home to the wife and kids, as is usual. About a 50-50 proposition, man. You strap on that rocket pack, and you are just as likely to come home as not come home. It's a sad life indeed. So, Starport on the way. Destiny Cloudfist strike build complete. Wait, 2 barracks. I'm a liar. That's not what this is at all. It's close. It's close to the 1-1-1 with Command Center tossed on in, but not quite there yet. So nothing coming out of the factory. That Starport is just about to finish. I think maybe flying tank at this point, although I would expect to see a tank coming out of this factory by then. So here's the question. What is the Starport going to make? Starport will make absolutely nothing. Nothing to this point. There's the tank, though, so that's got to be a medevac. It's got to be some flying tank harass, and it is a 2-baser from johndragoon, throwing up his Roach Warren at the front door. What is that all about? I guess he's trying to wall off against Hellions that might be coming to kill him, but as it stands, I don't know, but putting your tech structures right on the front door like this is the greatest idea. Spreading some creep is great as well. I guess, I don't know, if you spread the creep well enough, Terran's going to be very reluctant to walk across all of this and get up this ramp unless they have an overwhelming force, at which points you're dead anyway. So I guess maybe this is not a bad spot to put down that Roach Warren after all. Is there a medevac coming? Nope, reactor popping on out. So just playing defense right now is NebulA. And again, 2 base in it. This has got to be just a Roach Ravager all-in type play from our Zerg player. And NebulA, to his credit, is not going for a quick third command center, which can be pretty darn disastrous if the Zerg player is thinking about being aggressive. There's that third hatch at almost the 5-minute mark, which again is super late. Super late, but again, getting the lair out, getting the Roach Warren out, getting that worker count up to 39 here compared to 38 for the Terran is not cheap. and it can delay that hatchery quite a bit. Stim just about to finish up here for Nebula. Another tank on the way. Ravagers morphing in for a Dragoon. John Dragoon of GMW getting glial reconstitution. I thought that might be what that was. And yeah, just a lot of medevac play here. I'm really worried about our Terran player right now. Nebula has got to get some harassment on, got to get some pushes on. You cannot just let the Zerg player spread creep and get drones and get a third base and a fourth base whenever they feel like it and get upgrades. I mean, you really got to get in there, harass, throw down Liberators, start dropping, get Hellions on in there too. Here we go. This is it. Nebula with the timing he has been waiting for here. He has Stim. He has 2 flying tanks. He's going to come up and try to kill the Zerg player now, or at the very least, force out some Lings, force out some Roaches, not allow Dragoon to continue to make workers at the rate he has been thus far. It's 43 to 42. Again, a good Terran player can keep up with that as long as they keep on the SCV production. And as I say that, there it is. There's another one. Great timing by Nebula to this point. APM for these players over 300 for Nebula. John Dragoon, man, playing at around 80 right now, so not really spamming at all, which is not a huge problem in my personal opinion. But here come the Roaches and the Ravagers throwing down the corrosive bile. Can the tank live? No! The tank ends up dead there. The Marines, however, tearing through the Roaches, tearing through the Ravagers fairly well, but losing numbers of their own. Another tank ends up falling there too. Picking up and boosting out is Nebula. Not feeling good about that. That rallying Marine absolutely dead. And with this glial reconstitution, these Roaches are fast, and they do manage to take down yet another tank there. Nebula trying to make stuff happen with just pure Marine, boosting up into the main base. Do not walk over that Spore Crawler, though. And indeed it doesn't. Good positioning there, but the Queen does manage to snipe down the medevac. No, doesn't do it. Doesn't snipe it down at all. The Queen, couple more shots, and does get the medevac there, running around, trying to kill as many drones as he can. Pretty good stutter step on display here from Nebula, but finally, the Marines do get overwhelmed. Possibly looking to take a third base here as Nebula in production is an orbital command right on there, so it would make a lot of sense if that was the case. Creep spread continuing, 42 to 48 workers. Did he actually lose? He lost a drone there, but Nebula was really getting that SCV count up while making that push, so well played indeed by our Terran player. Didn't kill a lot of things, but did force out units, as I said, from the Zerg, which is something you always want to do. Double Extractor coming up on that third base. We might be taking into Tier 3 right now for John Dragoon. He's getting +1 a missile attack and +1 Carapace, really just pushing heavily on this Roach Ravager stuff, which again is really scary for about through 10 to 11 minutes of this game, but once it starts getting up to 12, 13, 14, 15 minutes, the Roach Ravager starts to lose effectiveness fairly well. So Infestation Pit on the way, +2 missile attack coming up for Dragoon at the same time. Nebula getting that +1, so many tanks, so many Marines, and another factory pushing up too. He really wants that tank count to be high, and honestly, who can blame him? So good against Roaches. The Roach count is high enough to necessitate that many tanks, and I think it will work out very well for Nebula to this point. Armory coming up for Nebula, trying to push out again with a small group of Marines, but oh, from the high ground, throwing down that acid saliva, throwing down that, I always forget the Ravager attack, the plasma discharge, throwing that thing down too. Still pushing though, Nebula, not afraid, man, taking out a creep tumor, picking up, running for his life. This is the thing you can do, is abuse the inability of Roaches and Ravagers to attack air without corrosive bile, which is easy to dodge if you're smart enough, if you're good enough. Just continue doing this stuff and force the Zerg player to go for a Spire at some point. A lot of dead creep tumors there, man. Exactly what you need from our blue Terran. Can he get another one? No, the scan wears off. Can't quite do it. There was an army there to defend it anyway. Look out, guys. Run, pick up, run. And they did. And they do run here. Overseers chasing them around, but the Overseers can't exactly stay there because the Marines, if they unload, can take out the Overseer very, very quickly, as we can see here, trying to chase them away, harassing this mineral line that doesn't actually exist. Here come the Roaches and Ravagers once again, but no, do not stand and fight. One Marine dies. One Marine does die, but getting out of there in time is Nebula. Good splitting of his units is Dragoon here, though. Has a small group of Roaches and Ravagers in his main base, a small group here defending his fourth base. Does he have anything back here? No, this looks pretty open and empty, which is a little bit scary if you're a Zerg, but he trusts his ability to hold off the attacks before they get all the way across the map here. But what this has done for Nebula is kept John Dragoon in his own base, which is excellent. Infestors coming up here for Dragoon, 160 to 163 total supply. Income tab again, 67 to 61 harvesters. John has not really been droning up that well. He seems to be happy with 60 workers, which can be good. I would prefer 70, 72 as a Zerg player in this position myself. But again, it's really scary to drone up that hard when you know the Terran player is going to come kill you at any time. Here comes a big Marine tank push, +1/+1 on those Marines. Any attack upgrades on the tanks? No, and none in production either. Nothing coming up along that way. As I've seen a lot from the pros, they do like that +1 vehicle attack. But at this point, NebulA is choosing to skip it, possibly to go for another couple tanks, which is how this will work. And just staggering the tanks, setting up on the creep, killing creep tumors, pushing it back. This is exactly what you have to do as a Terran player to take down a Zerg. Another attack on the creep tumors, and a big swell here of roaches and ravagers. Fungal growth catching everything there. Corrosive bile landing, and boom! Goodbye, medevacs. Goodbye, tanks there as well. Pull back to the tanks. Pull back to the tanks. The Ravagers not taking extra damage from those tanks, but still, the splash damage is pretty darn good there. Pushing forward, NebulA feeling brave for just a second, then does pull back. Then pullbacks there. Another scan would be great to get rid of some of these creep tumors. Tanks getting shots off on those queens. That the transfuse was not quite enough to save their lives, as they do get burned alive there too. Checking for a base up here. There's nothing to worry about there. NebulA, don't you worry your pretty little head. And an Overlord getting chased away by a Liberator. Fourth base coming up for NebulA too. Sitting on the creep here. +2 Carapace on the way for Dragoon. Pushing it again with the Roaches and the Ravagers and the Infestors. A Liberator setting up here too, trying to get some shots off, but just stutter stepping forward with strength here is John Dragoon. The tanks in the back doing terrible damage. However, is it enough? Another Defender Mode circle set up here too, trying to snipe away what they can. Is there Corrosive Bile available? Looks like there's not. That tank does have 5 total kills. A lot of units were lost on both sides of that engagement. Ultras on the way for Dragoon, though. 4 Ultras popping on up now. If you are NebulA, do you have Ghosts? Do you have enough Liberators to handle this? Do you have any Marauders? Unit count tells us there's a Liberator and 34 Marines. Not good. Not good. Marines are terrible against Ultras. Chitinous plating coming up here too. Pushing forward is NebulA. Can he do this thing? Another scan would be excellent. Does he have enough energy to do it? I don't know. I don't know that he does, but sitting on this creep is so darn scary. Oh my gosh, how could you not scan? How can you not scan? Not scanning. Alright, pushing forward on this creep, trying to kill what he can here. Tank splash once again. Marines getting surrounded by Zerglings. The Zerglings are pretty much all gone though, and here comes the Ultra. Bam, dead. Very quickly, all by his lonesome. But 3 more come trundling down here, forcing a pickup and an evacuation by NebulA, leaving the tanks behind, getting cleaved apart by the Ultras. 131 to 125 total supply in favor of NebulA, but these Ultras are a huge problem right now. Again, Ghosts can handle it, but I don't see any indication that NebulA is going to go for Ghosts at all. Trying to throw up some planetary fortresses, but just pushing forward. Corrosive Bile almost taking down that command center. 24 hit points remaining on that sucker, and it will be exploded. There we go. That is it. A few more Corrosive Biles, a little bit of some overkill, but that's okay. 5th base coming up for NebulA. 5th base for John Dragon 2. Not Dragon, Dragoon. Spire on the way for our Zerg player. And pushing up with a small Ultra Ravager force. Might be able to force a cancel here. And yeah, going to kill that SCV at the very least. Cancel it. NebulA, cancel it. And no, just loses it for nothing. Does not get the refund. Thought he could save it, but he was wrong. He was wrong. He was too late, my friends. Here come the Marines pushing through again. Defender Mode circles being tossed on down. John Dragoon wants nothing to do with those. Nothing at all to do with those ones. He's going to mosey his way on out of there. Spire just about to finish. I think maybe he's waiting for some Corruptors to deal with this. There are some proposed changes to the Liberator that makes it do more damage against light, but less damage against non-light flying units with that air-to-air attack. So good against mutas still, but not as good against Corruptors as they have been. So Zerg players can rejoice about that one if it does end up actually getting into the game. It's in the public test realm, which you can actually test yourself here in the StarCraft 2 client. It is pretty fantastic, and just a way to see upcoming changes before they're actually live. Defender Mode circles being popped on up here too, and the Ultras really don't want anything to do with this. It's just a lot of tanks. Again, no upgrades on these guys at all, but the Marines are +2/+2, which is great. 11 Corruptors on the way. That hatchery dies immediately, though. The Zerg player in a lot of trouble. In a lot of trouble. Gonna push back, though, is NebulA. Happy about that kill, which I can't necessarily blame him for. NebulA coming back to a more defensible position. That base is up and running. He has a small group of Liberators and a tank here to defend it, just in case any more Ultras decided to come up this ramp and try to kill stuff. I don't know. I feel like Nebula could have pushed its advantage there a little bit. The Corruptor count is scary, so the Liberators aren't going to be as effective as they otherwise could be. I guess also the flying tanks are a problem. And Marines are pretty bad against Corruptors, let's be honest here. But continuing to make Liberators, again, this is at a point where Liberator anti-air is not bad against Corruptors, and Corruptors should have the +1 armor or +2 armor if they can. I don't see that being researched. Unfortunately, Marines trying to get those Corruptors out of the air, but the Ultras come trundling right on through. They have 7 armor. They have +1 attack on those Kaiser Blades. Getting +2 attack. Going to finish on up there. The 8 armor is where it's at, though. Single tank somehow left behind by Nebula, so quickly evaporated, because why not? And there's a Ghost. All right, Ghost production for Nebula coming up. Terran fans rejoice. Terran fans rejoice that Nebula figured this sucker out. And the question is, will it make enough of a difference? This is a lot of Ultras and a lot of Corruptors. Good setting up with the tanks, though. Liberators getting sniped right on down by Corruptors here. Planetary Fortress is doing a lot of splash damage to everything, absorbing hits from the Ultras as well. And the Corruptors getting destroyed here by most anti-air. There are some missile turrets sniping on stuff down, and John Dragoon decides to get on out of there. Going to try to kill this 5th base if they can. This Ultra continuing to trundle through. This guy with 5 kills. He is a slayer. Corruptors, can they snipe the thing on down? The Corruptors do have the caustic spray ability, which does work on lifted buildings against Terran. Not sure if Nebula knows that, but he actually might have enough DPS to take it out regardless. Here are the Ghosts with their steady targeting ability. 170 damage, ignoring armor after a quick timer there. And is he going to get it? Where's the steady targeting? Use steady targeting, Ghosts. Why aren't you using steady targeting? Oh no, he just picks him up and gets them the heck out of there. That's hilarious. Corrosive Bile maybe hitting his own units just a little bit. Is John Dragoon. Another base falls. Another base falls. Another wounded and abandoned tank here. Guess he's not wounded, he's just abandoned. And does get some shots off on the Ravagers. The Zerg player wants nothing to do with it. Greater Spire on the way for John Dragoon. And Corruptor is pushing back here too. Alright, says John Dragoon. What do I do next? I'm getting Banelings. Banelings are a pretty darn good answer to Ghosts, as they do splash damage and extra damage against light. Which Ghosts are +3 melee attack, +3 carapace, adrenal glands coming up for those Lings. John Dragoon knows what he's doing. But Nebula does as well. This is actually some pretty good decision making for master level. I would not be surprised if these guys might get promoted sooner rather than later. I guess it would just be a question of macro, as neither player really is maxed out at this point, and I feel like a pro player would likely be there. Marines trying to burn down this hatch before the Ultras crush all of them, and does he get it? No, he doesn't get the hatch. He doesn't get the hatch, but, ooh. Medevac getting sniped down, but it's very low on health, which is excellent here. A couple Marines do live to see the death of their friendly Medevac. Getting absolutely crushed there. And another attempted base. Overlord scouting that one out almost by accident. Once again, Ultras against Marines, just not good. Not good for the Marines. That Ghost count looking scary, though, for Nebula. Get out of there, Zerg fans. Be afraid of these guys. But 8 Broodlords in production for John Dragoon. 181 to 133 total supply. I think a lot of that supply for John Dragoon has been for those Broodlords. So here we go, setting up shop. With defender mode circles, the Ghosts just waiting for somebody to come try and kill them so they can steady target them. What is happening? Where is your attention here, Terran player? Why? Alright, he's killing creep tumors, which is fine. And here come the Broodlords. Steady targeting, trying to be used, trying to snipe things down. No! The Broodlings getting shots off, canceling a lot of that steady targeting here too. The Corruptors trying to snipe on through. Can they kill the Liberators in time? Ghosts are all dead. Broodlings, man. Broodlings, man, so good. Corruptors just crushing right on through. All the Liberators are gone. The Broodlords pop just in time for John Dragoon. It's 161 to 111 total supply. That supply is plummeting very fast for Nebula. Pushing on through here with the Ultras. He wants to kill this base, this gold base that is being muled right now. The Lings getting in the way of the Ultras. Ultras, no, they can actually attack over Lings. That's surprising. And here comes the swarm. Look out, Nebula. Oh, just throwing down a whole big swell of mules here, trying to do what he can to save his life and his game, but not going to happen. There it is. Corruptors in the air. Ultras on the ground. Doesn't even bother lifting that command center, that orbital command. Everything's dead. All the mules are gone here, too. The army trying to do what they can to go tit for tat against the Zerg player. He's going to be able to kill this hatchery most likely, but it's just not looking good at all as these Broodlords raining down Broodlings from above. Upgrades on those Broodlings are very, very good too. Tanks getting destroyed. Corruptors just sniping every single medevac out of the air here as well. A lot of cleaving going down. The Ghosts not able to get as many steady targeting down as they want to, and they are all gone once again. Liberators getting crushed out of the sky, 83 to 171. Total supply 177. The Zerg player has this game in hand at the 20-minute mark. 8, 9, 20 minutes. 20 minutes indeed. All right, so SCV transfer going on right now for NebulA. NebulA refuses to give up. It's 92 to 176 total supply, 50 SCVs, 66 drones. Bases all over the map right now, taking his 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th base is Dragoon, and his 7th as well right on down here. He has a great composition. He has Mutas, Lings, Corruptors, Broodlords, Ultras. The Broodlords are hanging back a little bit. They might be susceptible to getting sniped off by NebulA, but I just don't see that happening right now. He's not even making replacement Ghosts, as he knows it might not be enough here. Lings getting right on top of these SCVs. So many dead SCVs right here. Again, the Ghost trying to steady target. They do manage to get some shots off on the Corruptors, but not enough to straight kill them. The Lings just absolutely going to their deaths. More steady targeting. The Broodlords coming from behind, raining down those Broodlings on top of everything. All the Ghosts are gone. Once again, it is 154 to 47 total supply. Broodlings, free units, man. They don't care if they die. They're going to take as many Marines as they can with them. Being very patient right now is John Dragoon, and that's it. A rage quit from NebulA. John Dragoon is victorious, and NebulA is out. Woo! That was a pretty darn good game. Well played, well submitted to falconpaladin@gmail.com. I had a great time casting it. Again, John Dragoon just, he did enough. I mean, he wasn't exactly pro level, as we can see here on the Master, but he got enough workers. He did lose this hatch a couple times, didn't really lose much other than that, did not get dropped incessantly. I loved the Corruptor play. Corruptors were very good throughout that game, and then the Ultras into the Broodlords was just brilliant. The Broodlords able to throw down Broodlings on top of the Ghosts and interrupt their steady targeting ability. So if they get damaged while casting that, they can't cast it. It actually shuts it down. So as a Zerg player, you need to find ways to do that, and John Dragoon found an excellent solution to that problem in this game. So well played by him. All right, so that's it from me. This has been Falcon Paladin with yet another daily Legacy of the Void upload. Go ahead and hit that like button. Hit the subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard today. You can also catch me on Twitter and Facebook, both /Falcon Paladin. And until next time, as always, thank you so much for watching, and you take care of yourself.